Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. You're watching Jana FX, and today I'm going to make another technical analysis for major pairs for the next trading week, which starts on 19th June 2016. But we first going to look at the previous week and see how the technical analysis worked, what trades you could make, and what profits. Also, risk warning that Forex is a risky business, and you can make money, you can also lose even more than what you invested. So if you decide to trade Forex, you need to look for a professional financial advice, and everything I show you here, it's all my own opinion, it's all my experience, and I'm sharing with you just all my thoughts. If you decide to follow any of my strategies or techniques, it's all at your own risk. I'm not responsible for any losses or even profits you can make, so it's all up to you to take on all the trades, and any risk is all on your own decision. And if you disagree with this, please change the channel. If everything is alright, we can continue. So let's start again as usual. The new week will start on 18th of June, and of course you have to look through economical calendar for the events, for the news, for pairs you are trading. So I already checked. I'm not going to spend time on this right now because like next week looks like pretty quiet week. There are some news out there, but not like any major ones. So at this point, except the most important event will be next week. You have to remember it's going to be voting for the UK, stay in or out. So that's going to happen on 23rd of June. You remember, results should be revealed on 24th. So that's going to be, I think, the most important event, which is going to be quite big, well, I presume. So that's why probably the beginning of the week is going to be pretty quiet or like simple week, let's say, and the end of the week when the Brexit, out for pound, it's probably going to reflect on other pairs too. So you really need to be careful. As for me, I probably ain't going to trade next week. Just wanna, well, depends again. We'll see what's gonna happen in the first few days, because as usual, Monday I don't trade. Usually I look and see what's gonna happen, and maybe Tuesday, and I don't know. So need to see, but definitely not gonna trade when it's gonna be a Brexit 23rd or 24th. So I'm just gonna watch what's gonna happen. So after that event, it's probably going to be a little bit more visibility of what's going on happening and where the market is going. So that's all my thought at this point. And let's start with euro dollar as usual. Is my favorite pair. And okay, let's go on a 30-minute chart. So we will look at the previous week, what was happening, and what the technical analysis I did. So I'll do it in 1 hour because it's better view. As you remember, last week was supposed to be a rate decision for US FOMC. That's what I was waiting on Wednesday, and it was a disappointment because it wasn't a huge movement. Except when I was making the previous video, I told you that it looks like interest rate ain't gonna change, but everybody was just talking about this for all these bloody weeks, and everybody was expecting some movements. There were some movements, but it wasn't a strong event. So that's where we were last week. Remember, the market stopped around this area, and I said that I'm not going to draw any channels because any light lines, trend lines, because they were all on my screen, and you can see it's exactly as it is, as it was. If you want to know where all of these levels came from, they are from the previous three I think videos, where I started to do the analysis of the major pairs. So if you look through, I don't want to do it right from the beginning, so we ain't going to spend too much time. But if you want to know where all these levels, because I had some questions where all the levels come from, they are from the previous weeks. And I'm not changing them because you can see they are still important, these levels. And exactly with that trend, I left the levels as they are, and you can see that all that week, previous week, the market was concentrating around this channel. So it was inside, and also used that channel too. If you would look at the bigger picture again, you can see that we have one big trend, which is uptrend. It's these two dark levels, and you can see it's still strong, it still stays in it. Even with that, the last week it touched one of the channel level, and it did come back. So this is still important. So we are staying in, and we also, I'm leaving all of these levels, and that little channel, it still stays. So everything as it was. And what happened during the week, that was the Monday, as I was saying to you, when the market stopped around here. I said it probably is going to go inside the channel. And Wednesday, where I was expecting the news, some movements will be trying to break it and go up or down. And so that trade, I took one of these trades on Tuesday, and so you can see that's what I had placed. So I draw this level. So these little ones, the red ones, these are all my levels which I did during the week. And this is exactly how you could do. If you're watching my strategies, if you're watching my techniques, the technical analysis, you draw probably exactly the same, because nothing is changed. All the strategies I told you about, it's all the same. All the systems, nothing's changed at all. So you can see the market went in that channel and then went up a little bit, come out. This was our like momentum was waiting for its stop, and then create something around one of the levels of the channel. So as you can see, it's like created that area, so I could draw that level and wait for that to break. And also I draw this one. It's always creating around this one of the main channels lines, and you can see after it broke, and that was the movement where I could make some profit on it. And and you already know the techniques, how I do it. I take usually, so I did 20 pips, got in from that level. I didn't take from this, just in case. I thought maybe it might turn around or something, but that's why I waited, and my trade was 20 pips from that level, and 20 pips from that level. Then I took 10 pips, closed some positions, and then I left it. That was my target. And but I didn't close anywhere around there, or I didn't close in here. When it started to move very close to that level, I just put the trailing stop 20 pips, and so it got me out around this area. So I didn't get the whole movement, so I got out of here somewhere. So that's how I usually trade. But as I'm saying, it's more safe trading for me. So the next trade, it was after Wednesday. It was actually on Thursday, because so I could try to do something, or if you are following the techniques, you of course you could have like draw something maybe like this, or you could have make some drawing something like that. And but because it was Wednesday, it was news event, I didn't catch that movement because I was waiting for what's going to happen. And so I didn't do any trades here, but you can see how smooth market was moving. So yeah, okay, that was the FOMC, and you can see it stopped at the top level of the channel, and then come back and created this nice another trend channel inside these blue lines, inside that level. And that was another trade, as you can see. So on Wednesday, so it's again, I placed the trades 20 pips below. I took some 10 pips, some profits. When it got to this area, I didn't close it all. I just changed my stop. And of course, the next target was this level, the main channel. So of course, I thought, well, it moves a lot, so it might turn around, or it might break it and go down to the next important level. So I placed also the trailing stop, and it took me out around this area. So that was a quite good trade in this one. As I say, not all the way, so about around this area it took me out. So that's how you could have traded also. It's really easy. You can see all, just if you follow the techniques, and but you have to take all decisions by yourself. So it's all up to you. I mean, you can see it did touch this area, that level, and as I was saying, like, for example, quite risky. Many people trade when it touches here, and they will just buy it here thinking it will go back. For me, it's too risky. As I was hoping maybe it will create first something, and before to do any trades, you know, but because it could have break and continue going down. But you see, it's changed the direction, it went up, and it went exactly back into our channel here. You see, it's back into the channel. So it looks like that channel is still quite important, this one. And so euro dollar sits in it. Now it's Friday. So of course here wouldn't do anything because it's very small and the movement actually happened at night, and there's nothing I would have done around here. And it's also Friday, and you can see Friday was quite messy. That's how I would say it's like it's uncertain what it wants to do here. So that's why this was a very little, was like not much to do with this. That's why I didn't do anything. So what is now, you can see is I'm saying need to wait again for what's going to happen on Monday to see where it will continue, because you obviously can see it's in the middle of that channel. So it's probably a few pips up. It's probably about the same distance, like 40 pips up and about 40 pips down. So the market can't decide, in my opinion, where it wants to go. It's going up or down. So maybe it will continue go up, and it will be, of course, trying to break there, or might continue to the bottom of the little channel and try to break that. So on Monday, need to see what's going to happen, and if it will create again, looking for creation of any channels or any patterns around this major main trend levels. So nothing's changed, all the same. So you can see here, I'll just wait for that. So for example, you can ask, maybe I can draw something like this too, right? This and this area. So maybe I can try to draw something like this. And I would say I wouldn't do this because I don't like it, because it's very messy, it's very big. If you would look at that channel and you would look at that channel, they are quite smooth. Yes, we had some impulses in the middle, but it still was very smooth. You see like how small these little candles, and it's like, okay, it's the news event reaction, and it's come back and it's moved quite smooth to the next day. Here you can see we had like after that drop, and it recovered and it's come back and it's up again. It's another big move, then it's drop again, then it's up and down, up, and that's why I don't like how it's behaving at this point. You see, that's why I don't want to draw anything. Is for me it's not good enough. That's why I would not take a risk, you know, for trying to do something with this area. I would not take any risk. That's why I'm saying we'll just wait what's going to happen again on Monday. Will it go to any of these levels? Will it break it straight away, or will it create any pattern? So just need to see, and of course to see, maybe it will be very smooth and nice, and maybe we can try to draw something like that, and maybe it will come out, and maybe it will create some little channel like here. We might create something around there, or maybe it will go down. So at this moment just need to see, but the levels are staying the same. So I'm going to remove this one so we will not be confused. We don't need them anymore because they worked out well. And let's just go again to 4-hour chart just to see what else we can do. As you can see, at this point there is nothing really, because it's nothing I can do. I just go to daily chart, and we still have the same picture. So it's just moving up, and if we would look at the previous what was happening, so it's like I had a drop and it's going up, so it's also going up, and you can see it's balancing quite often. It doesn't reach this level very often, except it did reach it here and turned around. So so that's what I'm saying. We'll just stay here for now and just let's see and wait for any patterns or channels for creating. But that's all for now with euro dollar. Okay, now let's look at pound. What did it do? And as I'm saying, you have to be careful with pound. It's all up to you again if you want to take risk and trade all the pound pairs because of vote next week, and nobody knows what's going to happen. So you can see that's the week. I'm looking at the 1-hour chart right now because we have a bit better picture, and exactly the same. You can see I have any new levels. Everything I left for you from the last week, and it's exactly pretty much exactly what I told you is going to happen with pound. We've been around this area, and I told you it probably will go and stay inside this channel, or it might balance around these two levels and will try to go back inside this big channel. And it's pretty much that's what it did. You can see it's balanced in it get into this channel, so it stopped in there. Well, tried to break a little bit, and it went up again, and it was trying to get inside it, but it didn't do it on Monday, so it's come back and it was sitting around this area, and it went eventually on Friday it back inside the one of the main trend channel. If you look on a bigger frame, that you can see that was our one big trend channel up. And as I said, I'm leaving all the levels here because that's what uncertainty with the pound. And you can see it did try come back, and it did went in right now into this channel back. So I'm going to leave again all the levels as it is, because as I'm saying, next week it will show us where pound wants to go. But what Monday, Tuesday, well, who knows? You see, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to draw anything. I mean, you could have taken some trades if you wanted. For example, when it's broke these areas like here and here, you could have tried to do it, or you could move this level because you had two tops created already. For example, you could move. You even had three tops. You have one top, you had another top, and you see that third top where you could like see where if it would turn around where it stopped, but it was no point to draw it because we had this main one, so it stopped twice around here and it come back. And you could have tried to like place the trades when it would break this area and see, and then to do, I mean, you could have done all of this, but for me, for example, it was all risky. I didn't see any good opportunities, but that's the first I drew it using that little one and very small, and you can see it's actually was balancing around. It's just exactly as I expected it would do, and that's what I told you. That's what happened, and it's exactly what happened. I mean, as I'm saying, for example, if you would like do something with this, you can see like for example, if you would be trading, it moved about 40, even like about 50 pips. I mean, you could have go for, as I'm saying, like for this 10, like just the 30 pips movement from that level, for example, and you would definitely know when you would move it, so it would probably stop around here. And you can see it didn't ever broke that bottom of that little channel, how important it was. It didn't break it, it stopped a few times, and then it's broke around here, which you could also place the trades if you wanted, but because it was moving up already, you see that I wouldn't risk on anything of this. So here also, like around this area, you could try to draw anything like this and like wait for it breaking. Because why? Because if you see, if I would move that, you could move that level a bit more when you had those tops, for example. We'll do a bit smaller one, the better view. So you can see it's kind of created. It got up, but as I'm saying, you see, it didn't even go as high. I mean, you could, for example, what I usually do is drawing it like this, but as I'm saying, so you could have waited for that to break. That was quite close to the stops you would expect. Okay, it's either will break up here and go up, or it will break this and go down to that area. Same you could do here, all the way, except usually I would do like this because for the next day movement, not during the Asian session, beginning of opening of European and London session, so something like this, but it's a little bit too far, so just do it a little bit like this. That's how you could have traded pound, for example. That's how I would have traded if I would, but as I'm saying, I didn't want to take the risks. So right now what I'm gonna do with pound, I'm gonna leave all these levels. I'm just going to move this one back to the small one, so it would be previous. It's at this moment it's worked out itself, but because it's unpredictable, and yes, pound got inside the channel, but it's Friday, and it might still go back down again. Just remember about these levels as I'm showing it to you. For example, if we can leave it on top of, well, let's just leave it here, for example, okay? Leave it on top of this top, so if it will go back, so it could be our first stopping point for the movement if it will go down. That's why we can leave. But don't forget that also that about that little one. So if you just like, let's do it this way. The little one. So just don't forget about this. Remember that part too, because you can see it was balancing around it a few times. So also quite important. So, but I'm going to remove it right now, and I think I'll just leave this like this. We'll just leave it like that. So that's all for now. I'm not going to draw this one. I mean, you can say let's do that area, but I'm not going to do this at that point, because, well, obviously it's what's this, 4 hours. Let's go into 1 hour, so let's see. It's the week, and we have to see what is going to be on Monday. For example, if you do think to trade it, just see what's going to happen on Monday, and then you can draw something if you want to have that level. So you can maybe draw it. Also, I mean, at this moment you can leave it like this, for example, and just see what's going to happen. But Monday you need to see really. At that point, that's how it is. We have all these levels. So that's how I leave pound and dollar. Okay, Australian and dollar. So again, I didn't trade it, I didn't touch it, I didn't see anything good for me. With this pair, it's not one of the favorite pairs. And from the previous week, you remember that's where it stopped. We were looking at it, and all week it's actually quite balanced around this level. So I had that level, and it actually was sitting around it. And I think it's kind of creating the uncertainty. I mean, again, you could have tried and to do something with, like, when the Monday we had, so you could have draw something, but it's would have been not anything really good on Australian dollar. That's why I didn't. Well, I mean, you could have, of course, you could have used some of the tops and see on breaking this series, but again, that was Wednesday, so that was Monday. When the Monday was, like, what could you do? For example, it wasn't good enough. I mean, obviously, as I'm saying, with Australian dollar, to me at this moment it's uncertainty. It's kind of messy because it's kind of sitting, balancing. It's like trying to break in and coming in, breaks again, up, breaks again. That's why I wouldn't touch Australian dollar, because I don't see anything on it. So the only one thing what I do see at this point, kinda, it looks like again the creation of like a diamond pattern. You can see around here. That's what I can kind of think that could be. It could be that. So how you can see that? So if you can see, it's moving like this direction. For example, we have, let's do it like this, and going that way. So if I'll just do it like that, that's kind of the diamond pattern to see inside. So with the opening of the week, again, it opens here, so it will be maybe just 1 hour better. So you either would have to little bit adjust it, depends where it's going to move, or you can just leave it and see. We need the correction a little bit more. So you can see that pattern is really for 4-hour chart, and if you do trade these types of charts, so you can see what can happen. It might go down again and make it a little bit more stronger, that pattern. So it might go up a little bit and break that area, so you wouldn't, as I'm saying, you might need to adjust it and to see where it's going to move on Monday. It's up to you. As I'm saying, you can take your risks, you can try to trade that pattern even before the market opens, but it's all up to you. I mean, I would not touch it. That's it. I would just because it's created well, it's a big pattern. It's like 4-hour chart, so it's been creating for what, from the previous week, all this week. So it's a big trading kind of time frame. I don't really trade like 4 hours time frames, but as I'm saying, you can see it. So what can happen, of course, diamond pattern, it's so the previous trend was a downtrend, and so it's creating this pattern, so that would go the opposite direction. So it should go that way, like for continuing this uptrend, for example. So, well, depends, yeah, how it will go around this areas. It might break, let's say, that that level at any point. Yeah, can do at any point. I mean, I'm showing to you from here, but it might break from here. We don't know. So for a stronger pattern, it might break it from here. So you have like 100 something pips you can expect the movement. And of course, just like any patterns, it's not always going the way it's supposed to go. So it might break the bottom level, and that would also probably about 100. Well, that one about 70 pips. It would go, for example, go the other way. Depends on in which area it will break. At the beginning of the week or a little bit in the middle of the week. As I'm saying, maybe it will take longer. As I'm saying, it's a very big time frame. As I don't trade it, but on a bigger time frame, you can see it's something like diamond is creating. So you would expect, as I'm saying, the full movement usually expected. So if it's from that point it went down, this is where the pattern created. So depends where it will move around here. For example, if it's like here, right from that area. So for example, from that area you would expect it. It got about to this area 120, 140. But as I'm saying, it's not always goes all the way. It might be just a halfway. So, but that's what can happen. So I mean, I can see something like this, but as I'm saying, it's pretty risky. It's the end of the week. But I'm giving you this idea so you can work out of this later and see what you think to do with that. So I'm probably going to, as I'm saying, for next week, I'm not going to touch this this pair, and will be staying away because of the Brexit. Unless, as I'm saying, maybe I'll see something for euro-dollar at the beginning of the week, maybe on Tuesday, Wednesday, but I'm not doing on Brexit days. So same I wouldn't do with Australian. So at this moment I can see that's like a mess for me. Is what I'm saying is that it's uncertainty on the market. That's how I would say it. So I mean, I can leave it as it is. And as I'm saying, you need to really adjust that roughly to see, to adjust a little bit and see how it's going to behave. Really, for me, would have been really to see what's going to happen on Monday. Except by Monday, at the opening of the week, it might already make a movement. So it all depends. But that's all. It's a 4 hour. Because if you see on the daily one, you can't see it already. But it's on the 4 hour chart, you can kind of see it. And you still can see it on 1 hour chart. So here's your 1 hour chart. You can see that. But as I'm saying, if that it's hard because it looks like it's forming, but it might not because it didn't form this area. It just stopped here and shows like the signs of it. As I would think. For me, it does look like that. So I would think it might go and create that. So if it will create a good pattern, it will go down here. So with the opening of the week, it will go down and concentrate around, and we'll be trying to break then these two levels. And what else for Australian dollar? Just leaving everything else. So I'm leaving that level as it is, and really just not much can say at this point. So just leave it as it is. As you can see, leave these levels. Okay, let's go to dollar yen. With dollar yen again, previously, if you watched the all technical analysis for the last few weeks, you remember I showed you, I actually drew you that level, and I believe that many of you went to a good trade when I told you that it probably will break. Of course, break both levels, either that one or so it did have an attempt to break with that, where I did warn you about that you have here, so you have to watch it. It might not go all the way, but you still could make some profit here if you wanted. And of course, that was broken. It was a beautiful movement, and just as I said, the target is that level, and you can see this is exactly where it stopped. So if you had the trade all the way right from the beginning watching my videos, then you would catch that great move. It's like 600 pips. I mean, that is like, it's really good result. And of course, to catch all that move, you probably would have moved your stops, but not too far. I mean, we had here a recovery bit, but you see it didn't go up. If you would have been around here somewhere in your trade, so your stops would have been very safe. I mean, you could have moved, but even if you'd come out here, you could have probably do something around this area, but you saw it went down. But I mean, I don't really trade dollar yen, so but that was just perfect. And at this point, I'm just going to leave it as it is again. All these levels, as you can see, the channel is still accurate, but it's not didn't break it. You see, it didn't break it this week. And well, of course, what can happen is we'll continue, and this is going to be another important level, which was from the previous videos. You can see we had a quite strong movement, movements around here. It stopped here once and 2 and 3 times, and of course that might be a stopping position. But of course, after it will break that or will reverse, then we're going to have a look, because it's still quite a long way. What's this? It's another like 500-600 pips. So well, set to that one, that level. It's about 200 to 300 pips. So on the weekly, it's not showing us exactly how many I have here. Yes, so it's about 300 pips, not 600, but 300 pips roughly. I took it a bit too long to something else. So from there to there. So that would be another thing to think about. But right now it's kind of creating something. You can see like also a consolidation here, and what can do and think that if it will be trying to recover, maybe, so you can try and draw something like this, for example, and we can just see and wait what is going to happen. Will it try to actually go back up, maybe recover, or is it still will be trying to go down? As I'm saying, well, Brexit might also affect dollar yen. I don't know, might not. So needs to see what's will be happening really later. And from here, for example, we'll about have 60 pips up and about 100 pips, 60 down and about 100 pips up. And so we had, well, at this point, you see, it's created a very nice channel, but it's the end of the week again. If we would be somewhere in the middle of the week, that would have been a very good channel, very nice little channel. But because it's created on Friday and closing the week, you see, it's obviously shows the again instability that dollar yen can't pick the direction if it wants to continue going down or it wants to maybe recover a bit. So as I'm saying, it's 60 pips. Will opening of the weekend, you know, when the week opens quite big, the spread is quite wide. That's why it's kind of better to actually see what's going to happen after the week opens, at least to see what's going to happen on Monday, and then you can get the trades on Tuesday. So and as with dollar yen, of course, it's also trades on like the main movements on Asian session and American session. And so you can see it's most of them is like in the evenings, like the US session, like 12 o'clock, it's US time, and that's what we see is midnight. It's our Asian time, Asian session, so American and Asia session. So it depends on which part of the world you are. You can pick your pair where you want, which one you want to trade, and watch and see for stronger channels and patterns. So that's what. So probably can leave it like this, and then of course to see, I would look at what I wouldn't risk with that. I mean, it's nice, good channel, but it's end of the week, and it's I don't know where it's going to move. Of course, usually it's either going up or it will go down. So I mean, it's been going down for quite a long time. I mean, it had from that big drop, it had a little recovery. As I was telling you, remember again the previous week, I said it probably recovered because it was Fibonacci here is about 70, and it was a recovery, but it didn't want to go further. It didn't want to recover as much. Like for example, in that movement here, like all of this, like movements like this movement is recovered and it's dropped and it's recovered and it's dropped, and only little recovery, didn't want to continue to recover a bit more, so it dropped. So from now here it might touch that level again and would have a bit better recovery than previously, and for that you can of course apply Fibonacci lines here. If it, for example, if we'll go, you can see what's the recovery. So well, that level is about 61 and 78, depends. It's a little bit moving down, it depends, you see, or around 50. So all depends really in my opinion, what is going to create around this area. Will it try to break it, or and then we'll see if it will be any good pattern confirming. Maybe it will continue as on a smaller chart, maybe it will continue that channel. You might continue it. So, and then you can use it as for any orders, for any trades. Try to use it. So that's all for dollar yen for now. And next is dollar Canadian. The same, all the same levels, and with dollar Canadian, remember it broke one of the main levels, went down, and again could have used Fibonacci and see where it's kind of stopped between 61 and 78. So it didn't reach 78, went a little bit higher and recovered, and that important price level didn't stop it, as you can see, and the uptrend moving went right to this main level, and that stopped it. You can see it tried to break it, and but it didn't, so it come back, and it stopped around this important level which I had from the previous weeks. As you can see, we had this uptrend, and so it broke it, went up, it broke this area and tried to get in, but it was stopped by that, and you see it turned around. So I'm leaving these levels as they are. I don't need this anymore, so I don't want it really on the screen. There's no use to it really now, but all the other levels are staying, and that level is also staying. And so what you can look here is if you would look a little bit close, like 1 hour, I don't know if you can see it on the actually in the 4-hour chart too, you can see it's kind of as we're going up, and then it's created like a little shoulder. You have a little like big head and another little shoulder. You see that level was important from the previous weeks, and it was this week also quite important, where it's created this shoulders around these levels. And what you could do, so when it went down, that's what you could draw here. That would have been your shoulders, like one shoulder when it's a head, and it's another shoulder, and the breaking of that shoulder, that's the moment you could have placed the orders and make some profit. So it's quite small, but about 40 pips. Well, if we'll take that one, it's about 60 pips. If we look on 15 minutes chart, then you can see how you could think. You can see you have that stop, you have here stop, here, and that movement. And of course the first stop would have been that level around here. You can see that bottom, so that way you expect that movement from that level to that would go here. So that would be your first stopping point, where you could have, as I'm saying, first you could take like your 10 pips is how I usually do, like 20 pips you're trying to place the orders, then you take in your 10, because you have also think about this area. Maybe you would have stopped here. So so you have 30, where you take your 10 pips at 30, and you move your stop, and so you could have get another 30 pips, because the movement was around 60, except if you would think that would have been stopping position. So you probably could have just take 10 pips. If you would put trailing stop like I would usually do, like 20 trailing stop, it probably would have closed somewhere around here. So as I'm saying, so that's how you could work out with Australian dollar. That's how you could do. So we did the creation, except the other thing you could have done. For example, you could have just drawn also that, which if you, it's like your another confirmation. For example, you see it's about the same area, the breaking area. If you would draw that trend channel and that level, so that you see the crossing of it actually would indicate you roughly where it probably moved. So as I'm saying to you, it's quite easy when you know how to draw these levels. You can see a quite good entry points for trading. And the movement happened at American session, so 12 o'clock UTC. So you can see during the day is a dollar Canadian. Your main movements usually for breaking the levels is American session, and that's all. That's how you could work out with dollar Canadian, which is again, as I'm saying, what we had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and that's the movement of FOMC was disappointing. Nothing happened on FOMC, and it's tried to go continue, but it's created head and shoulders, and also that level you could have go for trade. So but now with this, I can leave it like that, I guess. And well, we can leave these levels again, because you can see it's stopped around that bottom level, around here it stopped, and as usual, it's either might go back inside that channel where it was before, or it might go down, and of course if you go inside the channel, it might break it and try to go up again and try to go inside that channel, or it might stop it. So I mean, at this moment you wouldn't really do any trades, because it's already broke it. Well, except you might see what is going to create around here. Maybe it will try to create, it might not even go inside, it just create some pattern or channel around this area. It might go and continue that trade, that movement which is started here, so it might continue go down. And of course, if it will continue, it's now like main target is here. Well, except previously it stopped here, so I would probably think if it will go all that way, of course with like maybe some stops and ups, a little bit downs, and that would have been the first point to think about. So as I'm saying, either like move your stops or something, like how I would do, and expect it to actually continue to this target area, to that main level, which is from weekly. From the weekly, you can see that's like one of the major one. And here, as you remember previously, also it was one big head, one shoulder. And as I'm saying, this is like a broken shoulder, really. Like it's broke that shoulder and went up and created like a little mini shoulder. And maybe it still wants to work out that big pattern. And as I'm saying, that like another level, and then of course this is the main big level for that pattern, but it's a very big distance and it's very early to talk about, but all the levels stay the same at this moment. So, but as I'm saying, if you will be just watch out, and of course we can I'm not going to leave all of this because it's going to be too many levels and lines on the screen, but I like to keep it clean so you can just see again that big movement. So where it will go, it like might stop at 78. If it will continue, like let's say it will create something around here, maybe under that level. So if it creates something around under that level, so I would expect it to go further, and then just like move your stops, just see and move your stops to or just watch the screen and to the safer position. So so that's what we can do. Or if what's another option, if we will do it this way. So we had that the first were around 61, it didn't go to 78, so it recovered and went down a bit. So again, so as I'm saying, first time it stopped here, so next time it might continue a little bit more, might go to 78 and then like have some reverse, let's say, and maybe we'll go again before it reaches this. But as I'm saying, we need to see, check out for news if there are any news, and of course the Brexit we're waiting. So at this moment, that's how it's looking. I probably don't need this anymore actually, because it's already happened. So these levels are important ones at this point. So it depends, will it go inside or might continue just waiting for patterns and any patterns channels. So dollar Canadian and euro pound, all the levels the same again, and you can see it was balancing all the week around this that price level. After that, it's actually tried to break it finally and moving down, moving away from that level. But that's where it was at the beginning of the week. So you see the week opened, it was around that level, went up and went down, up, down. So as I'm saying again, for me, that behavior of the pair, I call it uncertainty. So it's uncertain where it wants to go. It can't pick the direction. That's why euro pound didn't touch at all. Also last week, didn't see anything good for my trades. You know, I mean, could have traded, as I'm saying, really unsafe and mad, like put like 20 pips above that level. It would probably make, because the movements like was 50 pips. The movements were quite big around this level, but like, for example, even like Monday, it moved like 60 pips up, then it moved, what about, you see 30 pips down. It's not worth of risk. That's how I say it. Even like on Monday, you can see how it moved on Mondays. I'm saying I don't trade Monday, I just watch what's going to happen on Monday. And for me, that movement on Monday was a mess. So you see on Tuesday, absolutely nothing. It showed me absolutely nothing. Well, except yeah, for example, something like that. So that was like yeah, like that was the Monday with all this movement. So on Tuesday, for example, you're waiting for the trade on Tuesday to take. You draw something like this before European session opens, and that would you would expect, okay, it will break that level somewhere. So that would be your, of course, the previous important level. So what's the distance? I'm just saying to you again, like 39 pips. Yeah, okay, you could have tried to take your 10 pips in here, but as I'm saying, it's a bit mess for me. So, but you see, you could still make money. But as I'm saying, it's all your decisions. You decide. I'm just telling you, I'm sharing with you all my thoughts. That's how I would go for. That's how I draw my levels, and this is my technical analysis. You can agree, you can disagree, but I mean, if you watch the previous weeks, I was showing to you all this technical analysis before the week openings, and you can see, I would say, to me, it was 100% accuracy, as you can see. You can see it for yourself. It's nearly 100% accuracy. And you can see all the levels worked out perfectly. But remember, always bear in mind that when the market goes to the levels, as I'm saying, for a stronger, you really need to wait for any, always remember, for any patterns or channels, like I was showing to you again here. I mean, yes, you can try to place the trades above or below, but as I'm saying, because we have always this little bit ups, little bit of the wings of the candles, you have to bear it in mind. And of course, to see opening of the sessions. If you think you want to take risk, you can take risk. So that, for example, another one could have been is you could have drawn something like that, and when it's broke, so you would have wait, like you have few touches, one touch, you have another touch, you had another touch at the week, and then you just wait for that to break. but again you had that main level which would have been staying, so you could have maybe wait for that to break that and then break. Let's just go for 1 hour again, because it's all like bigger time frames. And for example, when it's broke here, I mean, that could have been, you would think, okay, this crossing, you would think you might break around here. No, it went a little bit, so you wait, okay, around this area maybe it will break, and so that way it's broke. So you have went up a little bit, and that's your 90 pips movement, which you could catch if you, for example, would put your trades well around this area, or for example, for a bit, let's say, more safety you would put from that level. But you see, because it was moving around this so much, it was jumping down and trying to break it and further and back. It was pretty risky for me, because you still had all of these wings, and but could have take risk, and the risk could bring you, well, around the series. I'm saying if you take 20 pips, you go for trade, just to avoid some unnecessary movements, for example. Except here it was already kind of moving. It's like tried to break it so many times, so here it's actually finally broke it. And 20, and so another like 50 pips, for example, if you would close it at the end of the week, or move your stops. But you can see how wide is spread here. It's like, what, 20 pips spread. So when it's open in the market, it opens, the spread is going to be also wide. That's why I like to wait for the opening for Monday, let's say. So that's all the thoughts for euro pound. And again, as I'm saying, well, what now? If you got in here somewhere around, if you went into that trade, of course that would be the target. That would be one of the levels where it can stop and turn around, or can break it. So might waiting for creating of any patterns around this level. As I'm saying, it might be a little bit below, it might be a little bit up, it might be in the middle again. So that's what, for a bit more security, more safety, just wait for patterns. But what's where else you can see it's yeah, you see, because before it was sitting around this for a while before it went up and then down, and was sitting here, broke a little bit and sitting here again. So yeah, that's kind of, so you can, for example, in that trade I would just well, move the stops, and that would have been one of the targets, and just move the stops and see what's happened around here. And then of course the next depends how fast it will go. If that might be a stopping point, I'm going to leave that too, because who knows, it might go and break all of those, and that would be the next. And maybe it will go to any will go back into this little trading trend channel. So as you remember, I did trade this before. It was head and created one shoulder and another shoulder, and that was why we have that level, because it was stopped here before, and that's why I had this one before too. But you can see that it stopped at once and it went up, and it stopped around this shoulder area, or you can say around this major level around here. So now it's around here. I would say it will be moving around this area. So the movement is already happened, let's say, but it was very uncertain. Here was very uncertain, but it's euro pound again. And remember about Brexit. I will remove this because the movement happened. As I'm saying, I didn't want to go in any of the trades for euro pound, because the volatility is high for pound, and uncertainty, it's very risky in my opinion. But as I'm saying, you can decide for yourself. That's my technical analysis for this week. These are my levels, these are my lines, and that's all. As I'm saying, for the next week, if I'll be taking any risks and any trades, I'm definitely not going to trade on the Brexit day, on the voting day 23rd, and the day of decision 24th. And but the beginning of the week is Monday, as usual. As I'm saying, I'm going to watch for euro dollar mostly, of course. What's gonna happen around there? What's the movements, if it will create anything around that channel, trend channel. If I'll see any good opportunities, I might trade. If not, then probably the whole week is going to be non-tradable. But as I'm saying, need to see what's going to happen on Monday. At this moment, these are my levels, and this is my technical analysis for this new week. I hope it was helpful for you guys, and if you really liked the video, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any new ones, and I see you later. Bye everyone.